yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Take for their disease. Rage is like a wind, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me. Better believe in your mind, 'cause it's everything. You can mold, shape, find almost anything. All it takes is some time and some clarity to find your identity. It's mind over everything. And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to What's Shakin' Titans Season 2 premiere. We want to take the time just to thank everybody for joining us live right here on YouTube for our Season 2 premiere. If you're not yet already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take this time to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications to get the latest from What's Shakin' Titans. As always, guys, if you're watching this on Facebook at a later time, please share us out to all your Facebook friends or your Facebook groups. Share us on your main page. You know, if you're watching this on Spotify at a later time, definitely give us a follow, give us a like, leave us a comment. With all that being said, I want to introduce my co-hosts for today's show. We got Mason Hollingsworth and Noah Cersei. So real quick, Mason, you want to give the fans a quick shout out and, you know, just kind of talk about something real quick?
Well, I just want to thank everyone for joining. I'm super excited to be here. Just super excited to be back for Season 2.
All right, Noah, how about you, man? How about you? You got anything you want to say real quick before we get started here? And Noah is actually still muted, so if you give him a second, he'll unmute. So we actually have no sound from him, so give me 1 second, guys. We'll get that taken care of, but Real fast, guys, we're going to kick today's show off. We're going to be talking about, the first big topic of the Tennessee Titans season this year is the signing of DeAndre Hopkins. So, we were able to sign DeAndre Hopkins to a 2-year deal. Mason, you want to give us your thoughts and opinions on D-Hop signing?
Oh, I was so excited to see that. I was waiting on, will he go to the Patriots? Like everyone's saying, will he go possibly to the Chiefs? Which some people were saying. Just so glad he picked you.
Definitely. And how about you, Noah?
I'm really glad that we did sign him. It could be a big opportunity for us and help us win a lot of games.
Definitely, with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins to the Tennessee Titans, that's going to alleviate a lot of pressure off of, some other wide receiver talents that we have, such as Traylon Burks and, Phillips and, NWI. Also, I believe it's going to be a big help to Chig, some of our tight ends. Just being able to have more targets and stuff like that for Tannehill to attack. It's gonna, not everybody's gonna be able to game plan or strategize for just one person. It looks like we lost Noah for a second, guys. So if you will give us a quick second, we're gonna go to a quick break and we're gonna try and fix everything up. In the meantime, we want to thank everybody for joining us live. Sorry for the little, hiccups we're having right now, but we're getting this worked out and we're gonna have an awesome season 2.
Hey, I'm back in.
I got cuts real deep in, bruised and scarred. I had to learn how to think with my head, not heart. I've been chewed up, spit out, torn apart. From picking up all the pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes. I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled round, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything. If I could see my dreams, I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make what my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this. I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dreams. Cause I'll do anything to make want a reality. Don't let go. I'll make things right. Cause I'll do anything to make want a reality.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Shakin' Titans. I'm your host, Gary Bailey, and I do apologize for those brief interruptions. I know y'all hear my son in the background. You know, he's not feeling well today, so we're just gonna kind of get through some things real quick. But before we left, we were trying to get Noah's thoughts and opinions on the receiver room. So Noah, what did you have to say?
You know, I think it's going to be a big battle between Traylon Burks and D Hop to be able to go for that number one spot for wide receiver. But by the clips I've seen, Traylon Burks is doing a little bit better than D Hop right now in practice.
Definitely. Traylon Burks has been, balling out. I'd have to say that, it's been more of a back and forth battle. I really like what we've seen from Traylon Burks as well. But, they're only going to help elevate each other's game. Of course, D Hop's been at it for a while. So, I think it's going to be more so DeAndre Hopkins helping elevate Traylon Burks, to a higher and newer level than what he was playing at last year. But Mason, do you have any thoughts on the duo between DeAndre Hopkins and Traylon Burks?
Well, I think no matter who is wide receiver one, either way it's going to go well. I do think that he'll be able to help. And I could see either one being, even though Traylon Burks was a rookie last year, I could see him still playing up to how DeAndre Hopkins' potential could be this year.
Yeah, definitely. They they both can do a really good job. So real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to my brother-in-law, Buster Cersei, standing right there behind Noah. So what's up, Fat Cat? How you doing today?
Fuck the Titans.
He's gay.
Yeah. So
Hey,
yeah,
Uncle,
yeah. What's up, Noah?
you're black on my phone. I don't know if that's a big problem or not, but
Well, okay, so Noah's running a little bit behind. We're having some internet issues with our connection there, but it's no problem. We'll get through it. So if y'all hear, some delay in audio or see a delay in audio and video, we'll definitely get that worked out in our future episodes. But for now, we're just going to roll with it. So let's continue talking about the wide receiver room. What is your thoughts? What is all of y'all's thoughts on, the other receivers outside of DeAndre Hopkins and Traylon Burks? And we'll start with Mason.
Well, I don't see enough people talking about our seventh round pick, Colton Dowell. And it really looks like he can be pretty fast out there. I think there's a lot of potential that he could be a third wide receiver out there. So I do see a lot of potential with him.
Yeah, I agree. Not a lot of people's been talking about Colton Dahl. Of course, me personally, I think that he's actually going to be really good for the Titans. I've seen a lot of clips from him, and I think that he has a lot of potential to be a wide receiver three. Um, but yeah, he has quick feet, man. That's one thing I noticed right off the rip is that he has some really quick feet. And before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to the Power Hour, Michael Bishop, and also Lee Hills of the Power Hour. He says, "Long time no see, glad to have you back." So, man, we greatly appreciate you for supporting us and definitely jumping on here. We had a lot happen during the middle of the season last year. And so we kind of had to put a halt on things, and but we're back for season 2. We're gonna rock it out this year. We have a lot of new stuff planned for the podcast, so we're really looking forward to that. Also, real quick, Michael, if you don't mind, shoot me a private PM on Twitter or something. I would like to chit chat with you about something. So if you don't mind, just shoot me a private PM. But yeah, so back to Colton. I think that you're right, Mason. A lot of people haven't been talking enough about Colton. He has a lot of big potential as well, and I think that if we use him as a slot receiver. But also we got to keep in mind that Kyle Phillips has come back healthy this year, and so far he's looking really good in camp. So I think that's going to be a really good battle between Colton Dahl and Kyle Phillips for that slot position. And then, of course, we're going to be stacking, D Hop and Burks on the outside. But that's just good news for the Titans. To have this much of competition, in the wide receiver room. So what is your opinion, Noah, on Colton Dowell and as well as Kyle Phillips?
Well, I haven't been able to see much footage of Colton Dow, but by what I've heard from others talking to them about our draft, is that I think he could be a slot receiver, like you said, or one get more of a short gain receiver.
Most definitely. He's definitely probably going to be a short game receiver. Now, knock on wood, no injuries pending. Hopefully that stays the case. Hopefully we can get through this season, healthy as a unit. But what is your opinion, Mason, on Kyle Phillips?
Well, like how you kind of said, the injury just couldn't show us his true potential that he could have really shown last year. And being able to see how much out of all the games he's played, how much he's like grown from that will be really fun to watch. And hopefully, especially his punt returns, will hopefully be really well this year.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not so sure if we'll have him doing punt returns this year. I think that we might have a couple other people in the lineup for that. But if we do, it's definitely going to be something interesting to keep our eye on. The 12th is the first preseason game, so maybe we'll get a glimpse at the plan for who's going to be returning kickoffs and stuff like that. So that's going to be something really interesting to keep our eye on. So who do y'all think will win the wide receiver 1 position, and why do you think that person will win? And we'll start out with Mason on this one.
I really do think it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins. I think Traylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins can, be around the same level this year, but showing as is DeAndre Hopkins has been doing this for a very long time, it could really help Traylon Burks fit into that role later on.
Yes, most definitely. I see where you're going with that, and definitely agree. I heard on the I think it was 104.5 The Zone. I think it was Blaine Bishop talking about it, and he was saying something along the lines of, to maybe there'll be a wide receiver 1A and 1B because they're both very talented, and they both could be receiving, the number one receiver reps, and targets throughout the season. So that's going to be something to kind of, really look forward to see, real quick, let's find out what Noah thinks. Noah, who do you think will be wide receiver one, and why do you think he'll be wide receiver one?
I really think Traylon Burks is going to be wide receiver one. I understand DeAndre Hopkins has more experience in the wide receiver game, but with the footage I've been watching, when it comes down to it, I believe Traylon Burks just has a little bit more energy in him to want to, and he has that will to want to win the game and everything.
Yeah, well, so I like your take on that too, and it's really going to be back and forth ultimately until we get to that time where they have to decide on who's going to be wide receiver one, wide receiver two, et cetera, et cetera. So for me personally, I like the idea of DeAndre Hopkins being our wide receiver one. However, I think I will have to lean kind of more towards what Noah's saying. I think just because Traylon Burks is more healthier, at a younger age, and I think that D Hop is going to be more of a piece that is going to be, more beneficial for Traylon Burks, then Traylon Burks will be beneficial for him. I mean, either way, they're going to really help each other out on the field during games. But it's definitely going to be a close battle, and I do feel like it's going to be something where Traylon Burks will be the wide receiver one, and D Hop maybe wide receiver two. But I mean, honestly, until we kind of get closer to the season, we really won't know. So this is all just kind of speculations, our thoughts and our opinions. So real quick, guys, with what you're hearing with what you heard from us and our thoughts and opinions on the wide receiver room, if you have something you want us to say, definitely shout it out in the comments right now. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. Who do y'all feel will be wide receiver one at the start of the regular season? And with that being said, there's also another really big battle going on the offensive side. However, it's not for the starting position, it's for the backup position. So let's get into QB talk. So we're going to talk about the backup QB battle that's going on between Malik Willis and Will Levis. Going in once training camp started, Malik Willis has definitely shown a lot of improvements. Mike Vrabel has been, raving on, just the glaring improvements from Malik Willis and how much, he's shown growth and being able to, command the offense and, go through his progressions and, get the ball downfield on time and, being able to put touch on certain passes. So far Malik Willis, has done really good for himself. However, the last 2 days, Will Levis is starting to come out and shine as well. So it's going to be a really close knit, back and forth battle. So I'm really, really excited to see, the QB play in the preseason, from both Malik Willis and Will Levis. But real quick, we were going to find out what our co-host has, their thoughts and opinions on Malik Willis and Will Levis. So let's start with Noah. Noah, who do you think has the biggest opportunity to win the backup position?
Well, I'm going to be very blunt about this. I believe Malik Willis is going to win the backup QB position because of how he, like you said, he has improved a lot since last season. And I just haven't seen much out of Will Levis yet.
So yeah, I definitely me personally, I would agree with you there. It's not so much that we hadn't seen enough out of Will Levis as I would say, for me, if I was a quarterback coach, I definitely want somebody who has live game reps and experience, going into it. But I've said it all last season, and I'm gonna kind of stick to my guns this season. Don't sleep on Malik Willis just yet. Yeah, whether we keep three quarterbacks or keep two and let one of them go. Most likely, if that was the scenario, it'd probably be Willis they let go of. But whatever team that would pick him up, watch out for him because I really believe Malik Willis has something to offer. The National Football League, and we just haven't had the opportunity to see that in its full potential yet. But before I kind of break down the rest of my thoughts and opinions on it, let's hear what Mason has to say on the subject. So, Mason, who do you think will be backing up Ryan Tannehill as QB2 this season?
I really do think it's going to be Will Levis. Just seeing how he's improved over a couple days, and you know, just wondering how he's going to improve over the next few weeks, next few months. I really do think he's going to play better. Willis has shown a lot, been like showing himself being a lot better since last year, but he still has some mistakes that he makes, like taking a little bit too long to maybe make a throw. And in game, you just can't do that, and I think more time's needed. it's the perfect year to have it. Uh, just really, really great to have. I think we're gonna keep all three this year. Like I think we're gonna keep up with that role, and maybe for the next couple years there might be a chance that all three of them, until the contracts end, that all three of them stay.
Yeah, so I just realized that my mic was muted during that whole clip, so I do apologize. I'll kind of go back and retouch over what I was talking about for a second. But what we were talking about was my opinions on Malik Willis and Will Levis. I really like both quarterbacks. I think it's going to be a very interesting battle to watch throughout this off season. If you ask me my opinion on who will take the QB2 spot, I would lean more towards Malik Willis right now. And like I was saying earlier, but y'all couldn't hear because I wasn't paying attention. So I do apologize for that once again. I'm leaning more towards Malik Willis just for having that live game rep. From last season, I think that, he's shown a lot of, improvements throughout the offseason. Yeah, he did a lot of training with Ryan Tannehill. He's more decisive. He's, definitely having, less problems being, going through his progression, delivering the ball on time and with touch. And, also, he also has the attributes of his legs. Malik Willis was a really good scrambler in college. So I think that's going to be something that, is going to play a big key into this, especially under Tim Kelly's new offense. The offense has been simplified for everyone on the offense, so I think that's going to help Malik Willis shine a little bit better. And then if you look back at, the Texans, and Deshaun Watson, when Tim Kelly was there, Deshaun Watson was also known for, the scrambling plays and stuff. So I think that's going to kind of lean in favor towards Malik Willis on that. But like I said, either way, it's going to be awesome. We were talking, Mason was talking about the decision on, possibly keeping three quarterbacks. Now, I'd said that Rand Carthon had said on 104.5 Zone, Buck Risen's show, sorry, I'm stuttering, but on Buck Risen's show that, he was glad that San Francisco, during his time in San Francisco, that they kept three quarterbacks because that saved their season. And, with Mike Vrabel also being a big part and, getting that three quarterback rule passed this year, I think it's going to be, huge. I think Titans will definitely keep three quarterbacks, going forward. I think we'll probably let a receiver go. We'll probably take it from one of the receiver spots, especially having D-Hop there. But, we have to remember that right now it's not about planning for, the future quarterback of the franchise. That's not what you want as the backup quarterback. You want the best possible fit for this season, and who can go in there behind Tannehill. Tannehill goes down and win you games, and it's going to be really awesome to see the battle between Malik Willis and Will Levis in preseason. So, Noah, what is your thoughts and opinions on the three quarterback rule?
I have to agree with Mason on a lot of that it is going to help us and a lot of other teams being able to keep three quarterbacks. And I believe that it was a really good decision because people do get injured. And as we seen last year, Ryan got injured and we had to use Malik. So yeah, I think it's a really good thing to be able to have three quarterbacks.
Yeah, so the three quarterback rule is going to definitely be beneficial to the Tennessee Titans. Especially if that's the path they decide to go down. I'm really excited to see what all that holds for the Titans. But guys, with all that being said, we're going to go to a quick break. real quick so I can get my son taken care of really fast, and we'll come back. We're going to finish our quarterback talk. We're going to talk about Ryan Tannehill some, and then we're going to continue this awesome episode. Real quick, if you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take this time to hit the subscribe button, as well as turn on all notifications to get the latest from What's Shakin' Titans. Definitely give us a follow on all of our different platforms. We got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify. You know, if you follow us on there, definitely share us out to, if you're on Facebook, share us out to all your groups, share us out to your friends and Messenger, share us on your personal page. You know, sharing is caring, and the more you share us out, the bigger we can grow. If you're on Twitter, you know, definitely, you know, start commenting, give us likes. You know, we definitely appreciate y'all. Same thing on Instagram, you know, follow us on Instagram. If you're on Spotify and you're following us on Spotify, you know, if you're not following us on Spotify, follow us. And if you are, you know, definitely give us a like, comment on this. This episode of What's Shakin' Titans season 2 premiere will be posted after we get done at a later time. But with all that being said, guys, we're going to go to a quick break, and I just want to thank all y'all for taking the time to tune in to What's Shakin' Titans.
If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No I'm not giving up, no I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
This episode of What's Shakin' Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Smoking good barbecue. Welcome back, everybody, to What's Shakin' Titans. I am your host, once again, Gary Bailey. These are your co-hosts, Mason Hollingsworth and Noah Searcy. So, guys, when we left out of here, we were talking about the backup quarterback battle between Malik Willis and Will Levis. You know, it's definitely going to be something interesting and something that we all want to keep our eyes on going forward. I really like both quarterbacks. I think that both of them will be beneficial as a QB2. Just kind of, staying posted and definitely keeping an eye on what's going on throughout training camp. But, this battle is going to be decided and won in preseason. So I'm really excited for the first preseason game on August 12th. So, let us know in the comments what y'all think about the QB battle. We did a poll on our Facebook page asking about who do we think will be the backup to Ryan Tannehill. And I think 67% of y'all said it will be Will Levis. That's some really interesting numbers. Like I said, it could go either way. It's going to be pretty awesome to see the battle for backup quarterback. But let's talk about Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill has looked sharp, and I mean sharp, coming off of his injury. It's going to be really awesome to kind of see, what he's able to do this year, especially with the additions of DeAndre Hopkins and how that's going to help him going forward, So real quick, my question about Ryan Tannehill, and I'll start with Mason on this one. But my question for you, Mason, is Ryan Tannehill, is he going to be over or under 30 touchdown passes this season? Over or under 30 touchdown passes for this season?
I really do think it's going to be over. Now that he has a second wide receiver that other teams really need to guard against, not only having Treylon Burks being guarded by every single one, I think he'll have so many more options to score, and he'll have a great season. Yeah,
I like the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, and then I think Treylon Burks was on a trajectory for success last season before he got concussed. I think that's going to be something that is going to help him hit over 30 touchdowns this season, especially if he can stay healthy. So let's go to Noah real quick. Noah, do you think Ryan Tannehill will be over or under 3,000 passing yards this season? All right, well, while we get Noah back, let's go ahead and jump, and we'll ask that question to Mason. Mason, what do you think? Do you think Ryan Tannehill will be over or under 3,000 passing yards this season?
I definitely see there's a possibility of either. It really depends on whether there's injuries or not. If DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks stay healthy the whole year, I do think he can. But if one of them get hurt for a couple games, I think that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I really like I really think that Tannehill will be able to strive. I'm going to say he's going to hit right at 3,000 yards and maybe a little over, but not by much. And the reason why I'm going to say that is because of us having, Derrick Henry in the mix. So I think Derrick Henry, being in the mix is going to really, change up those numbers. I do think that, D-Hop and Traylon Burks is going to take a lot of pressure off of Derrick Henry's back, but that's for a later point. We're going to get into the running back room in just a minute. Looks like we lost our co-host Noah, so if he's able to hop back on, we'll get him back in here. In the meantime, guys, Mason, do you want to give us your opinions on the offensive line?
Well, it did not look that great last year, and I think the Titans are doing really good with trying to find some more. We got the first round pick. We got offensive lineman, and that was definitely really important to get. And I really think that's going to help a lot. But we have not seen too much of them, so we cannot see yet. But I think anything can be better than last year's.
Definitely. I'm working on getting us a third co-host in here. So if y'all don't mind, Mason, you want to kind of chit chat about, let's talk about Jamarco Jones and the Tennessee Titans letting him go this year.
Yeah, I think he caused 2 fights, and back-to-back practices are like a couple days apart, where there really wasn't any fights. I'm pretty sure he was one of the only ones actually getting into arguments with players, and it's good to see that the Titans won't just let that happen, and they actually will let someone go if they keep doing that.
Definitely. So we're trying to get our extra co-host, my sister April, also another main host of the show and founder of What's Shakin' Titans, along with me. So she should be hopefully hopping on any second, and we'll really kind of break down the offensive line when she gets on here. But so 2 days ago, I believe it was, Jamarco Jones got into an altercation with Big Jeff. There was hands being thrown, and Mike Vrabel sent Jamarco Jones inside to kind of run it off and stuff. And then the very next day, he was right back at it. And I'm not sure who it was he was throwing fisticuffs with on that second day, but it definitely affected the team's mentality. And Mike Vrabel, he's just not having none of that. It was definitely kind of interesting. It was interesting in the fact of Mike Vrabel actually said, all right, well, we're not gonna have none of that on this team this year. I'm really curious to see the new guy, and I forget his name. I'm drawing a blank. Let me pull it up real quick. But the guy from the Arizona Cardinals that we signed today, Justin Murray. So we signed Justin Murray today. Justin Murray played right tackle and right guard, all of which was for the Cardinals from 2019 to 2021, and he spent last year with the Bills. So I'm really interested to see how he does. If he's going to be able to take that right tackle spot and fill that until MPI gets back. But guys, real quick, we're gonna go to one more break. I do apologize, but we're gonna get my sister in here so that way we have all 3 hosts for y'all. In the meantime, guys, stay frosty, enjoy the background music, and we'll be right back.
Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. Pieces is a form of art. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
This episode of What's Shakin' Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. Look us up on Facebook. Definitely give us a call. Yep. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to What's Shakin' Titans. Real quick, I want to welcome our third co-host right now, April Bailey, my sister, also half founder of What's Shakin' Titans. We were having some technical difficulties with Noah, so she hopped on. And then I believe that our next episode, she's actually going to be the main host, as me and my wife are actually getting ready to move, so I won't be able to be live. So she's going to be rocking that episode out. Real quick, we're going to kind of go back over our topics real quick. We're going to get April's thoughts and opinions on these things. So we started the episode out, April, and we were talking about DeAndre Hopkins and the addition of D-Hop. So you want to give your thoughts and opinions on us signing D-Hop?
Yeah, I'm super excited that we finally filled a hole that I feel like we needed to fill since last season. And to watch him practice and it's like a glove. It fits perfect like a glove, and he hasn't missed a beat. He's been practicing really, really well. And he's actually elevated the play of Kyle Phillips and Burks. And so if we can really get them all three moving, we could be quite dangerous this year. I think it's kind of like changed the whole dynamic of the team, and I think it's great.
Yeah, and our other co-host Mason had mentioned Colton Dahl, and I know me and you had talked about Colton on a other podcast and stuff, and just kind of privately. So what's your opinions on Colton Dahl, and how do you feel his progression is coming along?
I think he's doing excellent. I think it's going to be a really hard decision between who we keep on the roster as far as our wide receivers go. Just hearing all the praise that's coming out of camp, Vrabel is one that he loves, Colton, and so I definitely think that it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them to make the decision, and I wouldn't be surprised if they keep a majority of them on our roster just because of the injuries we've had. But I also think that it's not going to be easy. Like Kyle Phillips, yes, he's picked up where he left off, but I don't think it's going to be just as easy for him to keep his position. He may move to something like special teams, or something like that, until he can re-earn his spot back on the team. That wouldn't surprise me either.
Definitely. Mason, any additional thoughts that you'd like to kind of throw in real quick on the wide receiver that you might not have mentioned earlier?
Well, NWI, it's what's going to happen with him this year? That's
That
like,
yeah, that's a good question. NWI. So April, what is your thoughts and opinion on what could possibly happen with NWI?
Um, I think last year there's a lot of times that he stepped up and he actually saved us, but I think it's because we didn't have a caliber receiver on the team other than Burks. And when Burks went down, he's pretty much all we had, so he was the only target we had. I think he's going to be in the same situation as Phillips a lot. He's going to have to re-earn his spot. Now they may keep him for like a special team and keep him as someone that can, fill that hole. But I don't really see us cutting NWI too much just because of his play last year. Depends on how he's doing camp. I haven't heard a lot of things about him out of camp, but it could just be that I'm overlooking it. But I think he's definitely going to have to earn his place like everyone else.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think NWI was a solid piece for us last season. As far, I mean, not production wise, but solid as in, keeping us going when we absolutely had nobody there. Real quick, the last topic on the wide receiver room we're going to cover real quick is who do y'all believe will be wide receiver one this season? And April, you want to go ahead and give us your thoughts on that?
I know a lot of people are looking at Team Hop, but I think we might shock some people, and I think wide receiver one might actually go to Burt. Just looking at the things coming out of camp, he has more of a youth and he's the future, whereas D Hop is a solution right now. So I wouldn't be shocked to see if Burks is one, D Hop two, or they may be kind of on that same level even at 1 and 2. They still might see the same amount of targets.
Yeah, we that was same thing me and Noah had said before we had lost Noah. Noah was definitely feeling Traylon Burks as wide receiver one. I'm saying somewhat the same thing. So Mason, how about you? You were saying, I think, did you say D Hop as wide receiver one?
yeah, just because of how much experience. But now thinking about it after talking about this, I could see them kind of both being wide receiver one. Like every couple games, maybe Titans do something different and like swap them like wide receiver one game, then Traylon Burks is wide receiver one. Just try out, see which one might be better.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I absolutely agree with Mason. I think it's going to depend on who we play and how they defend and who their corners are.
yeah, and we were talking about earlier. Blaine Bishop had said on 104.5 The Zone that he believes there's going to be a wide receiver 1A and wide receiver 1B. So, he thinks that they both will be a wide receiver one, which is the same thing Mason just alluded to. And, I could definitely see that being the case.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, outside of Traylon Burks and D Hop, who's the one wide receiver that you're most excited about this season?
I'm kind of excited to see the battle between Kyle Phillips and NWI because I kind of feel like they are both going to be kind of battling for that wide receiver three spot, that slot spot. And I just am anxious to see if NWI is able to hold on to it or if Kyle Phillips kind of picks up where he left off and picks up where we expected him to be last year.
Definitely. So, guys, that was our take and thoughts on the wide receiver room for the Tennessee Titans. And then we're going to kind of touch on the backup quarterback battle that's going on between Malik Willis and Will Levis. And after we get done talking about that, we'll get into talking about our starter quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. No questions about it. So, once again, we just want to kind of make sure, everybody knows that when we say backup battle, this is for the QB2 position, and, before we get into that, we will also go over the new rule once again for the option to keep three quarterbacks on the roster. Do we think that's going to be a possibility for the Titans, etc.? So, April, what is your thoughts on the backup battle that we're going to be seeing this preseason between Malik Willis and Will Levis?
I'm gonna be absolutely shocked if we do not keep three quarterbacks just based on Mike Vrabel's stand with three quarterbacks and how he's the one that pushed for it first and foremost. So if we don't, I'll be the first one to say, hey, I was wrong. I really expected us to keep three quarterbacks because I really do. The offensive line situation, it may change that. I don't see it. I see them cutting another position short, other than quarterback, to keep three on the roster. And then I think that they are already numbered exactly where they're going to be. You've got Tannehill as one, Malik two, and Will Levis three. I've seen Will in the last few practices be a little bit more consistent, which is good. But at the same time, I think he is where he needs to be as a rookie, and I like that because I like that he's going to have time to develop. And I think that's where he needs to be. He needs to have time to develop because just the development between last year and this year for Malik uh, has been wonderful. And had Malik had to have start more games or just be the starter coming out, I'm not sure if he'd be on the level that he's on right now, as far as development wise. And so I'm kind of glad that both of them have the option to kind of sit back and develop as quarterbacks under Tannehill and then under each other. I also think that um, I'm not going to be shocked, and I don't think it should cause a lot of shockwaves if you see Will Levis in the same position that you saw Malik last year, where he's starting majority of the preseason games, if he's playing the majority of the preseason games, because I feel like they're going to try to see where he's at. Just like they did with Malik last year. I don't think it should be a huge red flag for Malik, and I don't want Malik fans to get up in an uproar about, oh my gosh, I just think that that's the way that they do things.
Yeah, I agree with your take, Sarah. One of the things I mentioned earlier when we were on this topic was, not just Malik's, improvements over the offseason, him training with, Ryan Tannehill, but also the fact that we have a new offensive play caller. Our offensive plays have been simplified, in the words of Mike Vrabel. So I think that's going to be a big benefit to, all the quarterbacks, Tannehill, because it's not going to be such a lengthy play call to have to recite back to the offensive line. But also, let's think about this. Tim Kelly's time with the Texans, he had Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, who was a very accurate quarterback, but also a very mobile quarterback. And the more that I sit and I really kind of dwell on that, I really think that that's going to be, as of right now for this season, more beneficial for Malik Willis than it will be Will Levis. And also another thing I'd said is, right now the Titans want to make sure that they're not putting the quarterback, who they believe will be the quarterback of the future, 2-3 years from now, behind Ryan Tannehill. However, they want the quarterback who is going to help us win games if for some reason Tannehill gets hurt this season. So you want to go with the quarterback that you feel most comfortable with for this season to win you games, as your QB2 versus, who's going to be the quarterback of the future, because that battle could be decided next year, could be decided, years after. And it really just kind of depends on if we re-sign Tannehill or not. But yeah, and then to kind of touch on the, well, before I touch on all that, Mason, do you want to kind of give your thoughts? Because I know that you felt as though Will Levis would win the QB2 spot. So you want to kind of recap your thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah, I just really do think he'll be able to, because I've noticed with Willis that he does take a long time to throw the ball, and I really do think he needs time to kind of work through that. And I have noticed like Will Levis can run sometimes, so I think Tim Kelly can bring him into a role where he can also be mobile. and also have like a lot of arm strength to be able to throw the ball down far to DeAndre Hopkins or Traylon Burks.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Will Levis does have a lot of talents, and his ceiling could be very high. Uh, especially in the future. Um, I personally, I feel like Will Levis will have, some struggles, especially once you get into that, full game speed, live reps situation. And we seen that out of Malik Willis last year. But, me and my sister talked about this for a while. And one of the things I do want to remind people, about Malik Willis and starting last year is, first of all, Malik Willis was drafted as a project quarterback. It was never meant for him to start. But on top of that, we have to realize is we had the worst offensive line known to mankind. They were playing at a high school level, and at times they were blocking Casper from getting to the quarterback, instead of blocking their guy. And for any rookie quarterback playing behind that offensive line that we had last year, it would have been, tragic. I personally feel that. I feel like it wouldn't have mattered if we had the best quarterback in the league. If we had Tom Brady, when he was a rookie playing behind that offensive line last year, it would have ended up badly for us regardless, because that offensive line was just like terrible. And, so we also kind of got to keep in mind, my sister April always says that, it's never just one person. It's never just the quarterback. It's never just the wide receiver, because when you're on that field, it's all 11. It's every offensive lineman, it's every wide receiver, tight ends, running back. It takes all of them to put out a successful game plan and to execute and to achieve their goals. And I think that last year a lot of people are putting they put a lot on Malik Willis's shoulders because they expected a savior for the franchise, when Tannehill got hurt, but they didn't realize, and the state of the offensive line. We didn't have a legit wide receiver target for Malik Willis to throw to, and the accurate passes that he was throwing last year, they would get batted up in the air or dropped, and so really, I mean, why have him throw at all? To make him look worse when you know that you literally had no one to throw to. You had no offensive line to keep him upright. And, I really think that we're going to see a new level out of Malik, especially if our offensive line is better than what it was last year. But April, what is your thoughts on what Mason had to say and everything I said?
Yeah, I mean, and I can see both sides of it. I think it's not fair because we haven't really gotten to see Will Levis play, and I think that's going to be the point in the preseason to be able to see how he is in real time. And it's going to be able to help the coaches see how he is in real time. But I also think it's an unfair judgment for Malik Willis as well, too, because while we did get to see him in full time, we didn't get to see him with the proper line and, just some of the tools that he may need in order to be successful. So it's going to be interesting to see how they both do in the preseason. And still, preseason's going to be a little rough because you're not going to have your starting line out there. You may for a couple of plays, but you're not going to have it, the full time just to not risk injury. So really the only way we're going to be able to see any of these quarterbacks is if the worst happens and Tannehill can't go, or like we did see last year, we're either so far behind in a game or so up in a game that they bench Tannehill.
Yeah, well, I was thinking maybe, I mean, we don't know, but there could be a chance that we see, two quarterbacks on the field at the same time this season, either Willis or Levis, one of those two on the field with Tannehill. I mean, because Tannehill also played wide receiver, so that could add you another target, down the field, and it would be a play that would definitely confuse offenses or defenses. Sorry, but but there's a big possibility of seeing something like that. But with us, we done talked about the backup battle between Malik Willis and Will Levis. We all gave our thoughts and opinions. I think we are all for keeping three quarterbacks on the team this season. So we talked about that. So let's talk about Ryan Tannehill real quick, because Tannehill has looked sharp so far this offseason through OTAs and training camps. And, I really think that, having the pressure of Malik Willis and Will Levis behind him, and then the thoughts of what's happened in years past. I think that's going to push him to elevate his game to a new level. Because let's face it, Tannehill was looking sharp before he got hurt last year, and then that's when we started kind of seeing those inconsistencies from him, and then his game kind of dropped down until he got really hurt. But if we have a good offensive line, with the weapons we have, I think that we're going to see a Tannehill on the level of what we seen when we went to championship game with AJ Brown and Julio Jones. I think that was one of Ryan Tannehill's most successful seasons with the Titans. So, what is y'all's thoughts on Ryan Tannehill? Do y'all think, I asked the question earlier, are you over or under 30 touchdown passes for Tannehill this year? What's your thoughts on that, April?
I definitely think this is a make or break year for Tannehill, and he knows it. I think the Titans made a statement when they went out and got D Hop that they want to win now. They're not rebuilding. This is the time, and I think that he is definitely stepping up to that. I mean, seeing him in practice and seeing him, it's definitely showing. And I believe, with the addition of D Hop, we could have up to 30 touchdown passes or so, but not leave out the fact that we have Derrick Henry.
Yeah, so I do think it's over. Uh, I think he can have a really great year as long as no injuries happen. If injuries happen, then I don't know. But with the addition of Chris Moore, even like if something were to happen, him being put in with the wide receivers could still have a chance of Tannehill making over 30 passing touchdowns. Has to be over, especially with the over 30 touchdowns, because Traylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins are both known for big gains. So having both of them out there will definitely help him get a lot of yards this year.
Agree, my mic's been muted again this whole time. So we're talking about over or under 3,000 passing yards for Ryan Tannehill. And I was saying while my mic was muted just then that I believe Tannehill will be right over 30 touchdowns for the season. I believe he's going to be about 31 or 32. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, like April said earlier, we have Derrick Henry. And I think we're going to see something extremely big from Derrick Henry, possibly something that we've never seen before in the NFL. But we'll get on to our talk about Derrick Henry a little later on in the podcast. So, April, over or under 3,000 yards for Tannehill passing this year?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you and Mason. I definitely think that with over 30 touchdowns, you're going to get over, 3,000 yards because, they are
we do have two deep receivers, which is something that the Titans haven't had in the past, barring injury. Now, I would really, I really, really, really am keeping my fingers crossed so we don't see any injuries and we're able to actually see the realization of what we wanted to see when we had Julio and AJ. And unfortunately, we didn't get to see that because of the injuries. So I've got my fingers crossed, knocking on wood, that we actually get to see the dynamic and how it works, how they play off each other, and how the defenses have to count for both of them and Derrick Henry and Chig and NWI and the fact that Tannehill can get out of the pocket. So I think if everything's working the way it's supposed to work on the level that it is on paper, I think this could be a very, very, very dangerous offense. I love the fact that people are sleeping on it, and I want them to continue to sleep on it because it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be great, and I think the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, with Traylon Burks is it's going to be game changing for the Titans, and it's like you said, it's what we originally pictured with Julio Jones, but unfortunately, Julio Jones was definitely getting right there at the end of his career, so he really didn't pan out for us. So I definitely agree with you on that. It's gonna open up a lot of different fronts for this offense this year. I believe we'll see less of the defense stacking 9 in the box to stop King Henry, and when you decide to double, DeAndre Hopkins or Traylon Burks, that's going to open the road for Derrick Henry to run right through your throat. And when you decide, hey, I'm going to put 9 in the box, Tannehill's going to launch it over your head to one of those two. So, it's definitely going to be a very interesting thing to see this season.
And I have a question too, and I want to ask both of you your thoughts because it was something I was thinking about, and it's kind of playing devil's advocate to the whole thing because you've got D Hop coming in. Him and Tannehill haven't had a lot of time together. More than likely, they will not be playing preseason. How do you think that they will bond and get that connection down the way he had it with AJ? Because he had it with Julio, but it wasn't tight. There was a couple of miscommunications and things like that, and you could see that in practice. There's a couple of times that you could see that they've had a few miscommunications, things like that. It happens in practice and things, but I'm wondering how long it's going to take for the two to actually gel together because this may not be something that we can see from the Saints game, from the game one, and we're going to have a lot of naysayers like, oh, we knew DeAndre wasn't going to work out, or oh, Tannehill, blah, blah, blah. And so I just want to kind of start early and just see what you guys think about how the gelling process is going to go for those two.
Yeah, so that's a really good question and point to bring up there. So before I give you my thoughts, I'm gonna go ahead and let Mason kind of speak his thoughts on that. So Mason, you wanna fire away on that one?
Well, it's great that you already see them hanging out in practice and talking over some things, what went right, what went wrong. So they're already kind of having that bond. But I don't really see the full potential until mostly mid-season. So like week 8, week 9.
Yeah, so for me, I really liked what we've heard and what we've seen coming out of camp so far. Because what we've seen is him actually, being on the same page with DeAndre Hopkins. But it's not about what we see because they're gonna put out the best videos they can, to help the fan base get excited and hopeful. It's about what you hear. And so far from what we hear is that they're doing a really good job on gelling, on getting on the same page. And I think we also have to realize is that DeAndre Hopkins is one of the greatest receivers, to the in the game, right now in our generation and this time and era. And so with all that being said, I don't think it's going to be really hard for Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins to kind of come together and get on the same page. Tannehill, coming from the background of being a wide receiver, would know how to, really address certain things. And then, also being a quarterback, he can tell D Hop where he needs him to be, or what type of breaks he wants him to do. And of course, D Hop bringing in that tremendous amount of experience from all of his playing time back in Houston and then the Cardinals. I think that we'll probably see him, really get going and taking off, and I'd probably say by week 3, you're really gonna get to see, that chemistry, ignite, and I'm really excited just to kind of see not only the chemistry with D Hop, but the chemistry that he's continuing with Traylon Burks, because. Like we alluded to earlier, Traylon Burks has been on fire this off season. So, I'm really excited to see what Traylon Burks has to offer and bring to the table alongside of D Hop, and with Tannehill slinging the gun, I think the sky could be the limit for this wide receiver core that we have this year.
All right, and just one more as like a follow up question, kind of go to what Mason said, because I agree with Mason. I think it could be weeks, 7, 8, 9. They're right there in the middle of the pack that we see this, incredible bond, or this, really gelling coming together. But week 1 through 8, how much damage does that do? Like how much? I know that we have Henry, but how much does that put on Henry? How much how much damage does that cause between week 1 and week 9 that we get this gelling together? And I agree with Mason. I agree with you. I think that it could be great for our offense, but looking at everything that it is, because it's a new playbook, it's a new offensive coordinator, it's a new, all these new pieces put together. Before it all gels together, how much damage do you think that does?
So, I like that question. So my first answer is, regarding D Hop and, coming into, a new system. D Hop has plenty of familiarity with Tim Kelly and being in a Tim Kelly led offense. So I'm not too worried about that. I would say, if, let's say, what if, so we're playing the what if game here. So, what if it does take more time for them to gel than what I said, because I said week 3, week 4. And I think Mason said middle of the season, week 8. So if it does take that long, I don't think it's going to really affect the first half of the season that bad, because we do have other targets, and all of them have been doing phenomenal. We got Traylon Burks, Kyle Phillips, who's, shining so far throughout training camp. Then we got Colton Dahl, who I call Quick Feet now. So I think that, it's not going to affect it as bad as we think it might. And we also, we'll get on the running back room in a little bit, but you also got to remember we do have a new, receiving threat and a running back in Tajay Spears. And, so Tannehill has definitely had time with all of these players. So I think, we'll probably see them gel a lot sooner than we expected, versus, when we had Julio Jones. Because if I'm correct, we didn't get Julio Jones so close to the end of training camp, and it was, he didn't practice that much, where we heard that D Hop would miss a couple practices, but he left practice early once, to catch a flight for prior, engagements that he had. But outside of that, he's been present at all the practices, so I think that, they're going to have all the time they need to really gel. So my answer for that, April, would be I don't see it really affecting our first half of the season. I really think that, we got to remember we had a crappy, and I'm just not trying to be mean, but we had a crappy offensive line last year, and we still managed to start the season at 7-3, and we had a total of like 96 people hurt last year, and then the year before that we were what, 12 and what? Do you remember what our record was when we?
Yeah, I think it was 12-6.
12-6, and
5. No, we were 11-5. Sorry, because a lot of
11-5.
people ended 11-5.
Yeah,
11-5.
and you know, and we had 98 different people start for us then. So, you know, we have to remember is that we started strong last year, and we had Todd Downing as our play caller, and we had a high school. You know, we went to a local high school, borrowed their offensive line, and put them on the field to play in front of Tannehill. And we still started 7-3 somehow, and it was mainly our defense, you know. So we got to give credit to our defense, you know. And I really think that we're going to have a top 3 defense this year, all around, because our secondary is getting praised, you know, by everybody. Coach Mack was really high on talking about our secondary, you know. So I really think that, you know, with that being the case, you know, we're definitely going to start out hot out the gate. It's can we stay healthy through the course of the season and finish strong, unlike last year. But that's my thoughts. Mason, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, just a question about the defense. Having Harold Landry back, how do you think that will affect the defense this year?
I mean, well, I feel sorry for whoever is the opponent's quarterback. You know, I really do, because now you don't only have Big Jeff coming at you, but you got Harold Landry coming at you. Then you got that new guy we got from the Jaguars who's really good coming at you. We still got Tierra Tart, right? Yes. You got him coming at you. I mean, our defensive front is solid. By far, I think.
And not only is it solid, it's stacked. So
yes.
we have depth in our defensive line. You know, we can rest them. And we don't have to have, you know, too many players get, you know, if they get hurt, we don't have to be in too much of an uproar, because it's literally the next man up, because you can do the same thing.
Yes, I agree 100% with you. You know, our defense is stacked. You know, our secondary, that was the main concern last year, was our secondary. And I think, you know, the Titans addressed that through free agency signings. Of course, we went all offense in our draft this year. But, you know, I think that was there's a reasoning behind that as well, you know, and that's because that was our biggest struggle on our team, period. But I think that, you know, our defensive front is top 2 or 3 in the NFL, in my opinion. And then I think, you know, as a whole unit, our defense is going to be definitely, you know, top 5, top 3 possibly this year. And so I really do believe that we have a huge chance of just starting out strong. Like I said, though, my big question is, do you think that we can stay healthy and keep that going throughout the entire year? And so before we get on our thoughts on all that, we're going to go to a quick break real quick. And when we come back, we're going to let Mason and April answer that question. And we're going to talk offensive line. Then we're going to talk running back room. We're going to break down Tim Kelly's offense. We're going to recap last season. And then we will end by giving our expectations and things that we want to see this year, as well as the very last segment on this show will be all 3 of us will give our record prediction for this season. So with all that being said, guys, we just want to take this time to thank everybody for tuning in to What's Shakin' Titans Season 2 premiere. If you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take this time to hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications to get the latest from What's Shakin' Titans, as well as give us a big old like. That will help us out with the YouTube algorithm. That way more people get to see our video, will pop up more often. If you follow us on Facebook, or if you don't follow us on Facebook, go follow us on Facebook. You know, share us out to your friends, share us out to all your groups on Facebook. Sharing is caring, and the more you share us out, the more we get to grow. We definitely have a Twitter and Instagram account. You can do the same with that. And if you don't know, we are also on Spotify. So go hop over to Spotify, give us a follow, give us some stars, like us, whatever it is on Spotify. I can't remember right now, but you know, definitely go give us a rating. Tell us what you think. You know, with all that being said, guys, we'll be right back.
You know I'm about to go off, I won't let him win. I'll take a stab, I wanna chase a bag. I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. No way, no.
the venom in my brain. Running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once that I so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted. Created a legacy off of me, just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dream. Reality. I'll give up everything. Daunting if I can see my dreams. Make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make one a reality. Don't let go. Don't let go. I'll make things right. 'Cause I'll do anything to make one a reality.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past.
And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to What's Shakin' Titans. I'm your host, Gary Bailey, and joining me right over here are your two co-hosts, Mason Hollingsworth and April Bailey. So, guys, before we left on break, we were talking about, we were talking about the defense. We were talking about Ryan Tannehill, and guys, what is y'all's opinion? With what I was saying, do y'all believe that the Titans have to start out strong, or will be able to start out strong? And, it's more so about finishing strong than it is starting out strong. Do y'all, what is your thoughts about that? We're going to shoot it over to April real quick. April, give us your thoughts and opinions.
I definitely hope that we're able to start out strong, just to kind of make a statement. But you're right, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I hope, if nothing else, we're able to stay healthy or get healthy enough for the end of the season.
Yeah, okay. Mason, how about you? What do you think, man?
Well, just looking at our offensive line, if they can do well, I think we'll have an amazing start to the season. But just not knowing what they're going to be able to do is just... You can't tell if they're going to have a good season or not, because that's really important pieces, and 5 of them, and you need all of them to do their job well, and everyone there. So if they can do well, I really do think we can have a good season.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's going to start and finish with that offensive line again this year. But I really do feel strongly that it's we're going to be able to start out strong. I'm not worried about Ryan Tannehill gelling with D-Hop. I think that's gonna happen quicker than what we expected. And I think it's more so of us just being able to stay healthy this year. So what do you think the Titans need to do to stay healthy this season? We'll start with Mason, and then we'll throw it over to April.
Well, what they did this year was they changed the field. Like, the grass turned into turf, I think it was. So they hope that change will hopefully keep everyone from getting injured. And, a lot of things this last season happened during the training camps, so hopefully nothing during the training camps, like stuff like that, before the season starts. Hopefully everyone can stay healthy as well.
Definitely. And April, what is your thoughts on, what the Titans need to do or have done to, change the health direction of this team this season?
Yeah. Not only did they change the turf, which Henry wasn't a big fan of, but I think he's gotten used to it now. But they've also changed the staff. They've changed the trainers. They've changed, the nutritionists. So they kind of went in and cleaned house as far as that goes, because obviously what they had wasn't working. They weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. And so that just comes along with a lot more new things that they have now. So we're going to see if, they hired up. Hopefully they did when it comes to injuries, because having 96 people on a roster is absolutely ridiculous. And it was definitely a change that they needed to make. It small. It wasn't huge in the media. It wasn't huge in the news, but it was small, and it's very important.
Yeah, it definitely was. Like April alluded to, we hired a bunch of new staff members, that including a new nutritionist, to plan out the players' meals and stuff. And like our co-host Mason alluded to, we have a new turf on the field. It's an artificial turf. It's a new type of artificial turf. And so it's definitely going to be interesting to see, how that affects the players and the players' health. Derrick Henry, like April said, wasn't a really big fan of that because he got hurt on turf when he hurt his foot. But other than that, I think we're going to see a chapter, a new chapter, or you could say a page turned in the right direction for the health of the Titans players. So, so far, knock on wood, everything's been good in training camp so far. So let's hope we can continue that journey of good health throughout the season. And finish, not only start strong, but finish strong. So guys, that was our takes on the wide receivers, the QBs. Let's talk offensive line. because I feel like that is the biggest question for the majority of the Titans fan base this season is what is the state of the Titans offensive line? Is it going to be worse, better, or the same than last year? And we're gonna let April start out, and then April, you can shoot it over to Mason when you're done.
I don't think you can get much worse. So that's a good thing. You know, the only way to go is up. um, Hopefully it does not stay the same. I They have added some new pieces in there. They've moved some positions around. I think some people were being used the wrong way, and I think that it's. I hope hopefully it's improved. That's one of those positions in camp. That's one of those things in camp that you just haven't heard a lot about. So Saturday's game, 1 week from today, that's going to be a big focal point for everybody. I do believe that all of the offensive players, all of the offensive line players will be playing. They've always played. Taylor Lewan always played preseason, just to kind of knock the rust off, get the tempo of the game. So that will give us a good idea of how it is. You know, it's not like we can say, oh, they weren't playing starters. Yes, we will be playing our starters as far as offensive line goes for as long as Mike Vrabel needs to see them. And so I think that's going to answer a lot of questions. Right now, unfortunately, we just don't have a lot of those questions. They haven't really talked a lot about it in camp. I think they've been highlighting, you know, of course, the wide receiver room and things that they feel like, you know, we could really make an impression on, but they're leaving out the offensive line. Mason, what do you think?
Well, I definitely know some Titans fans were nervous when we drafted offensive line in the first round because that has definitely not been the best for us recently. But I really do think he can be a great offensive lineman, and you know, I really do think he can be a day one starter, especially with the group from last year. I mean, like you said, it can't get much worse. Uh, Whoever the quarterback is, they will appreciate all the new offensive linemen, all the work that's been done. So they all kind of understand the worst of it. How can they do with the best of it?
Yeah, I definitely agree with both of y'all there. I like the draft that we got. With our first overall draft pick and the Peter. I can't even pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to try right now. But he's been taking a lot of snaps at left guard. And so, like April said, it's just more so mixing and matching the pieces right now and see who's a better fit for what position on the offensive line. And I really believe that the offense will definitely take a step in the right direction this year, which is going to be great news for not only the quarterbacks but also Derrick Henry. They're going to be able to get to that second level and throw blocks, open up better running lanes than what we've seen last year. And on top of that, we were talking about, the defense won't be able to stack 9 in the box as much anymore because of the threat of us going over their heads, So, I really think we're going to see a big improvement on our offensive line. Let's get into talking about Jamarco Jones real quick. So the Tennessee Titans officially let go and released Jamarco Jones as of yesterday due to starting 2 fights. So one happened 3 days ago, the other happened 2 days ago, and then they let him go, or 2 days ago, and then yesterday, if I'm correct. Is that right, or was I right the first time? But anyway, originally he started a fight with Big Jeff, and then Big Jeff and him started throwing hands. Mike Vrabel made Jamarco Jones go in and go to the equipment room and cool off. And then the very next day, I'm not sure who he got into a fight with, but he got into another fight, and due to that, Mike Vrabel was like, I'm not having none of that. We're letting him go. And then we also signed Cardinals running back, Cardinals offensive lineman. Let me pull up his name again, Justin Murray, today. And Murray has played 12 years in the NFL at right tackle and at right guard, all of which were for the Cardinals from 2019 to 2021. I'm sorry, I said that. I said 12 years. He's had 12 career starts at right tackle and right guard, all of which was from 2019 and 2021 with the Cardinals. And then he also spent last season with the Bills. So I misspoke there. I didn't mean to say 12 years. It was 12 career starts. But what is y'all's thoughts on Justin Murray and signing him? I guess to take Jamarco Jones's spot.
I've heard a lot of great things about Justin Murray, over with the Cardinals and things like that. I'm really excited to see how he plays. And like I said, Saturday is going to be kind of like our first glimpse into what this new offensive line looks like. I also wanted to touch on something that you had said earlier about simplifying the plays. And I'm just wondering, like, what that would look like, just because I feel like they were as simple as you could get last year, Yeah, run, pass, screen.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, with the offensive line and with the new plays, it's gonna be interesting to kind of see who, fits into what category. I'm really excited to see it because it's just one of those things that they just haven't talked about coming out of camp.
Yeah, and to touch on what you were talking about, it seemed like we had a fairly simple, offense last year, run, pass, and then on fourth downs it was a screen pass, which was stupid. But anyway, it was the terminology, was very long, very hard for, the rookies to retain and remember. That was one of the big things that Mike Vrabel talked about, as well as Rand Carthon talked about, coming in and actually having Tim Kelly as our new offensive coordinator, was just simplifying the offensive play calls, simplifying the playbook, making it more effective, hopefully we don't see, run, pass, fourth down, screenplay, run, pass, again this year. So I think, by making the terminology shorter, easier, simpler, not so long, it makes everybody's job a little bit easier, because then you ain't got to worry. You don't have to learn, 120 plays with each play, 10 plus syllables long. Now you're looking at 100 and some odd plays where they're probably like 4 or 5 syllables long. So it's simplifying the verbiage on the offense, and I think that's going to be key, not only for our receivers or the rookie quarterbacks, if for some reason one of them has to step in, but it's also going to simplify it for the offensive line as well. So Mason, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, with the offensive line part, I'm really excited to see the offensive lineman from the Cardinals, see how well he can do, and just like you said with the playbook, it's going to be nice to see something new, something that teams will not be able to predict, because just seeing teams looking over what the Titans are doing, just seeing them do the same thing, it's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, Dum, Downing. I mean, a fifth grader could have called the defense against him last year, and I'm just being honest. Like, a fifth grader could have predicted what he was going to call. And my sister's son, Jaden, he plays football, and he's in I forget what league he's in, but junior pro, and he could have done a better job at it than Todd Downing did. So I think that the simplified verbiage and not having Todd Downing dumb pass, I think it's going to be very beneficial for the Titans this year. and not having offensive linemen trying to go out and block for Casper. Instead of missing their main target, they out there blocking air. What was that one? Dennis Daly. Every time the ball was hiked last year, he was like, "Ooh, a piece of candy! Ooh, a piece of candy!" So I don't think we're going to see any of that this year. Like I said, I really feel strong about this group of offensive linemen that we have. It's going to be very interesting to see. Of course, we won't know anything till the season starts, and really preseason. My eyes are more so on preseason because we have to keep in mind what happens if our starters go down. Then we're going to have who we see in preseason take over. So can the players that we have in preseason, our second stream, our third streams, how do they perform, with the new verbiage? How are they, able to do their blocks? Are they able to keep the quarterback upright? Are they able to block down the field? Are they able to open up running lanes? That's going to be one of the biggest things that I'm going to be watching, really hard during preseason this year. It's
and
that.
even yet, Gary, I would be watching on Wednesday just because they're going to come out with the lineup. And like I said, I'm not going to be surprised to see every single one of our offensive linemen who are actually going to be starters actually be playing in the game for as long as Mike Vrabel needs them to. So that's really what I'm going to be watching because I want to see exactly how they do with game speed. I know we may not get a fair look at them only because they may be our starters, but they may not be going against starters. So it's also going to be, kind of left up to the imagination till the first game, but it's going to give us still a better idea than what we have right now coming out of camp, how this offensive line has actually improved.
Yeah, I really, especially, that third preseason game, because that's typically when we see Mike Vrabel dress all of our starter offensive linemen is definitely in that third game. We see them out there for at least 2 quarters, So, I'm definitely, I definitely agree with you there. I think we'll see a lot more of them, throughout this preseason. But, even with that being said, my main focus is going to be on the backups and how they're playing, just because of the injury history we have had the past 2 years. So I'll just like you can always tell how the offensive line's going to be by watching their backups play. And, I called it, if you remember, preseason last year, game 1, like right after game 1, I verbally said that if we go through this season with this offensive line, A, Tannehill was going to get hurt, and B, it was going to cost us the season. And it did both of those things, because, let's face it, on offense, that's where, the offensive play starts and finish. It starts and finishes with the offensive line. So we have to find a better way of, staying healthy. We have to find a better way of, blocking, which I definitely think, with the new additions of these, offensive tackles and offensive guards, we're definitely going to do. And then, I feel bad because we let go of one of my favorite offensive linemen, and it's not Taylor Lewan, although he's up there, but Ben Jones. Ben Jones was a solid rock for the Tennessee Titans. And, so one of the big things I'm going to be watching is our new center and how good he does, I would say this also, he was talking, the new center was talking on 104.5 The Zone about, they asked them, they said, well, is it hard to learn, different hikes to, the different types of quarterbacks? And the one thing I found positive out of what he said was, no, it's not hard because it's all the same. It's the same for Ryan Tannehill as it will be for Malik Willis, as it will be for Will Levis. So I think that's going to make his job a lot easier. There's not, well, I gotta get the ball up higher, I gotta get the ball lower, I gotta put more force on it for this person, less force on it for that person. It's all gonna be the same. So the consistency is also key there, for the center, but it's gonna be the consistency through all 5 linemen that matters the most. But so yeah, I'm really looking forward to see this group out there on the field, and see what all they can do. Mason, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, a lot of people I see are saying that he's a very undersized center, but I really do think he can play well. And he might not be the height that everyone wants him to be, or the weight everyone wants him to be, but I really do think that he can be something that could be special for the team, like you were saying, like can be a part of like a member that can like really bring the team together. 'Cause that's what the center really needs to do.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah. A lot of people have been talking about his weight, and he did say in a press conference for the team that he actually plays better at the weight that he's at now, because a lot of people was wanting him to keep stacking on weight, but even Mike Vrabel came to his defense there and said that he's playing better, more faster, more accurate, at the weight that he's at. So I feel good with that. April, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how he plays as center. He does definitely have some huge shoes to fill with Ben Jones, but I do want to say that I really am happy that Ben Jones was able to end his career on such a high note. He was such a rock for us. He played hurt, he played sick, he played everything, and he deserves a great retirement. And I hope that he stays, I hope that he stays high on people's lists. But I will say too, as far as the weight and things go. Um, I think a lot of people are learning that it just depends on who the player is. Everybody's different. My son's actual junior varsity team last year ran out of the center, and my son is teeny tiny. And he had a player that was his exact size. He's about 4'9", 60 pounds on a good day. And he played center, and he played the best center that we have had, just because of his agility. So I don't think that it comes down to size. I think it comes down to being able to move, how you can move and how quickly you get the ball up and block.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. It's not all about the size. It's about how good can you go out there and execute the game plan. What you're asked to do. And I'm really excited to kind of see our offensive line out there this year. But guys, so real quick, I want to take the time to let you know that this episode of What's Shakin' Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. And with that being said, guys, let's hop on to the running back room. So before we really break down the Tennessee Titans running back room and group as a whole, I want to ask both of y'all this very important question. Okay? How many 5-year-olds will it take to tackle Derrick Henry? And we'll shoot it over to Mason first.
I would say at least 500 minimum.
500 minimum.
500 minimum.
All right, April, you're up. How many 5-year-olds will it take to tackle Derrick Henry?
Are they getting like a running jump start? Are they being continuously released? Are they all released at one time? I feel like there's some barriers that could go in here. Is he running the full length of the field? Are we in a confined area?
Okay.
I would say minimum 75, maximum 90. Just depending on where you go.
So we'll put it in this context, like Mike Vrabel said. Okay, we'll say it's a 10-yard area. Okay, so Derrick Henry will have 10 yards. All of them will be on the field at once, and Derrick Henry will be trying to run through them.
Okay, in that case, probably about 90, because I think they would have better success if they were being released in groups of 20 at a time, just 20, and then he gets to about 20, and then because it would tire him out. So I think if they're all on the field at the same time, he has a better chance of trucking them over. So probably about 90 then.
Okay, so I'd say for me, I'd say probably about 250. 5-year-olds to tackle Derrick Henry. But we also better have some Undertakers on site for that, because it's going to be very, very brutal. So
Stiff arming's allowed.
yeah, especially if he gets that stiff arm out on him. Rumors have it that Josh Norming is still out there floating away in space somewhere. So, with that being said, this popped into my head. I brought that up because I was going to mention Paul, the reporter who covers the Titans, who Mike Vrabel hates. But Paul put out a tweet, I think it was either early today or late last night, and he said that he is expecting Taylor Lewan to officially announce his retirement from the NFL. And he believes that the reason behind that is due to Taylor Lewan's weight and how he's looking right now. So I don't know if there's like rumors going on, behind closed doors on that. But just wanted to kind of throw that out there to you guys that, there is a possibility that Taylor Lewan will be officially announcing his retirement from the NFL. So, with that being said, let's... unless y'all have thoughts or opinions y'all would like to say, I'll say this for me. I want to thank Taylor Lewan for, an awesome career, great laughs, his humor, and just the level of competition and, dedication that he brought to the Tennessee Titans. I want to thank him personally for all of that, all that he's done for us as a franchise. Mason, you got anything you'd like to say on that?
Well, it was always great to see him run at someone if he saw anyone messing with any Titans players on the sidelines or anything. You would just see him running as fast as he can to go try to have an argument with them.
Yeah, or if somebody hit the quarterback the wrong way, he was there.
Right.
He was there and chewing them out. I'm gonna miss that the most.
Yeah.
April, what about you? You got anything to say about the possible retirement of Taylor Lewan? Okay, well, April must have stepped away for a second. So, with that being said, when she gets back here, we'll re-ask that question. And give her the opportunity to give her thoughts and anything else she would like to say on the retirement of. There she is. So April, Paul had sent out a tweet, and he was basically saying that he's expecting Taylor Lewan to officially retire from the NFL. So is there anything you'd like to say on that behalf or to Taylor Lewan?
I've had a history of having a toxic relationship with Taylor Lewan. I loved his fieriness. I loved how much he protected his quarterback and his friends on the field. I did not like the amount of penalties that he received. I did not like that he could not stay healthy. But I appreciate Taylor for everything he's given us and for everything that he has done for the Tennessee Titans organization. And I'm so glad that he will retire.
Yes, so if I'm correct, Taylor Lewan will become one of the first Tennessee Titans players who we drafted and will actually officially retire as a Titans. I believe he'll become one of the first, if not the second, because I don't think there's been many of them.
He will be the only Titan that started a Titan and ended a Titan and never played for another team.
Yeah, so there you have it, guys.
Yeah.
I was right. So Taylor Lewan will be the first player to ever start and finish, as a Titan, only playing for us. So that's pretty awesome. All right, guys. So let's break down the running back room. And we asked the question about the 5-year-old, so let's really get serious on this. I'm gonna just kind of talk about. We'll start with the top, and we'll work our way down. So let's start with Derrick Henry. I'm expecting to see a lot from Derrick Henry this year, with the addition of D-Hop and Traylon Burks looking a lot better than he did last year. Plus, we have Chig, and then we also have Kyle Phillips. The defense is going to have a hard time stacking the box against Henry. I alluded to this earlier in the podcast. But here's my bold prediction, and some of y'all might not think it's a bold prediction, but it's a bold prediction. My bold prediction is Derrick Henry will be the first NFL player, NFL running back to ever rush for 2K rushing yards. I believe he's going to hit over 2,000 yards again this season. And on top of that, I believe he's going to break the all-time rushing record. So I believe he's going to hit the most 2,000 rushing yards, which I believe is like 2,300. I believe he's going to break that. I believe we'll probably see him around like 2.7, maybe 2.6. I'm just kind of throwing some random numbers out there. It's probably not going to be that high, but that's just my bold prediction. I think that, like I said, with the addition of all these extra pieces on offense, it's going to open that running lane and for Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry is going to become a focal point of this offense once again, because Derrick Henry has been the face of the Tennessee Titans franchise for a long time. And now, with that, I would also like to say Taylor Lewan used to say, a pissed off Derrick Henry is the best Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry has something to play for outside of just hitting stats or being the best running back in the NFL. With all this talk going on about, does wide receiver, does running backs deserve to be paid more? Derrick Henry has extra weight on his shoulders to go out here and to prove himself yet again as, an elite running back, which there's no question. There's no question that he is one of the top running backs in the NFL. And in my opinion, he's the best running back in the NFL right now. But, of course, there's people out there who will debate against that, and that's perfectly fine. But I really do. I think we're going to see, a legend. He's already a legend, but we're going to see a legendary year from Derrick Henry, this season, breaking a couple different records and becoming a first in the NFL. So what is y'all's thoughts on Derrick Henry and this season? And April or Mason, whichever one of y'all want to go first, take it away.
Well, I think teams should be afraid of what Derrick Henry can do. If teams understand how well he did with a terrible offensive lineman, how do you think he's going to do with, if we have a good offensive line, how well do you think he can do there? I do agree with over 2,000 yards. If our offensive line can be really great and everyone does the role perfectly, he could, maybe go for 3,000 if he really wanted to. He will have a great season.
Yeah, definitely. I agree 100%. April, what is your thoughts on this season for Derrick Henry?
I think Derrick Henry is going to be Derrick Henry. Okay. So I think that he is going to be awesome. I think that he very well could have another 2,000 yard season. I think he could be the comeback king. But, and I feel like I have to say this, with the extra weight of running backs should be played more and things like that. I understand that the wide receiver room being like it is could open up more opportunities for Derrick, but it also means less touches for Derrick. And Derrick's never been a diva. And don't get me wrong, don't misquote or anything like that. Derrick's never been a diva. He's never said, I want the ball. But with him getting less touches, him trying to push for, running backs to be treated equally as, the same as everyone else on the team, it just makes me wonder how that's going to affect his play or how his attitude may be going into the season, knowing that, this could mean less touches for him, less touchdowns for him, things like that. Now listen, don't get me wrong, guys. I 100%, 1,000% agree with you guys that he's going to have an excellent season. He could have a 2,000 yard season, and I in no way think that he is a diva or that it will affect him. But playing devil's advocate, looking on the other side of it, could it?
You do bring up some good points there. But I really think that Derrick Henry has been the face of the Tennessee Titans, even when we had successful wide receivers. To take that weight off of him, he was still a focal point. In the offense, a big focal point at that. And then you also got to remember is even then we had other running backs to, help kind of take that load off of him, for the pass catching game and stuff like that. So I think that we'll still see a really productive game from Derrick Henry. I think we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna see definitely close, if not above 2,000 yards this year. And I'm really looking forward just to kind of see how his game is going to continue to improve. Because each year he's brought something new and different to his game. You know, of course, last year towards the end of the season, once everybody was hurt and he was just out there trying to do too much, we seen something that was un Derrick Henry, and that was drops or fumbles and stuff. I don't think we're going to see that this year because we're not going to be asking Derrick Henry to bear the burden of the entire offense on his shoulders. I think that's going to allow him to get out here and play more elusively, more freely. It's going to allow him to be more of the Derrick Henry of old than what we seen at the end of last year. So yeah, I do agree and understand with your points on that. What is y'all's thoughts on Tajay Spears? The new backup running back. And we'll go to April.
I'm actually excited to see him. A, he's the future. B, it could bring some lightning to the Thunder. And it could also help push Derek a little bit to where he needs to be. It's definitely going to help us open up our running game and also our pass game. So I'm really excited to see how we incorporate him and see how he plays as well. Nothing but excitement for me here for Tajay.
Awesome. What about you, Mason? What is your thoughts on it?
Well, I definitely do understand people have some concern for him, especially like having no ACOs, but people need to understand that he did really well in college while having the same kind of thing. So seeing how well he can do with that, it shouldn't bring like a lot of fear to people. It, I really think he's going to have a good year as a backup, and I think he can definitely make some catch some if he needs some.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all on that. I think Tajay Spears is going to be also a vital piece in the offense, not the face of the offense, but he's going to be a big piece. Especially on fourth downs or stuff like that, where Mike Vrabel decides, okay, we're going to go for it. We could see two running backs on the field at the same time, which is going to trip up the defense. I think the possibilities are endless. As long as he comes in and he's just as productive as he was in college, if he can continue and carry that over into the NFL, then I think that what we have is like my sister said, is we got lightning and thunder. We got both sides of it. And having a two-headed beast, in the backfield is a lot better than having just one beast in the backfield. Because we definitely got the Incredible Hulk. There's no doubt about that. But with this new addition, you're adding somebody who can go out there and get separation and get the ball, pluck it out of the air. So I'm really excited to see that, and I think Tannehill will like that, or whatever quarterback might be playing, and I believe it's going to be Tannehill the whole season. I don't, as long as the offensive line does its job, I believe Tannehill has a lot to prove as well. Especially since for both Derrick Henry and Tannehill, this is going to be a contract year for both of them. So with that being said, is there? Let's see, who's the other running back? Haskins. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is y'all's thoughts on him? Do y'all think that he will be, a contributor this season? Do you think that? The Titans will keep him or possibly let him go, maybe to save a spot on the roster. What is y'all's thoughts on that?
I think it's all going to come down to how he plays in preseason. I think it could be a battle between him and Tajay. Haskins, if I remember correctly, he actually did pretty decent for us last year. But they also, when Haskins was in the game, they didn't stack the box because they knew that they did not have um, Derrick Henry back there. So I feel like that was kind of an unfair, comparison between the two. So I think it's going to come down to how things go during preseason. I don't see them wanting to let Tajay go. I can see Haskins being as a third B or practice squad B. But it just depends, like I said, how they play during preseason.
Yeah. What about you, Mason?
I do agree on that. I think Spears will most likely be the backup, but just seeing how they can like play into like see in the preseason like who might get like the first few snaps and how well they do. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of like the battle between them.
Yeah, it's going to be a interesting battle to watch and kind of keep our eye on through the preseason and stuff. Let me ask y'all this: if Haskins hits the practice squad, do y'all believe that there will be another team who is wanting to take him? What is y'all's thoughts on that?
The Colts are looking.
Yeah, they definitely are looking hard. So, I kind of wanted to touch on that because you mentioned the practice squad, and I personally feel like if Haskins hits the practice squad, he'll definitely get picked up by another team. Because like I said, people don't realize how valuable the running back position is in the NFL. There's some teams, you look at the Bills, you look at Kansas City, you look at Cincinnati. They all have like low end running backs, seventh round draft pick type running backs, but they're all heavily pass a heavily pass offense. So regardless of his skill level, there's a place for him out there in the NFL, and I think that he'll definitely get picked up somewhere.
But I think that's where the Titans are so different, and it's misconstrued a lot that we're a run first team. But I think where a lot of teams are misplaced, and I hope that they're not watching this so that they don't fix it. They're not. I'm just kidding. But is if you can have a run and a pass, which is what the Titans could possibly have this year, right? Then you can't make them one-dimensional. If you only have pass, like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills, it's easy to make them one-dimensional if you have the right tools on defense. And it's easy to shut them down because we already know they don't run the ball and they don't run it well. All you have to do is shut down their pass. With us coming in, we have a possibility to change the NFL this year because not only do we have the opportunity to pass, but we also have the opportunity to have a run. And so, okay, shut us down on pass. Derrick Henry's going to run all over you. Tajay's going to run all over you. Okay, shut us down on run. We got D-Hop. It's going to be hard. And so I think that's where we could really differ and we could really excel because teams haven't grasped that concept yet.
Yeah, Mason, you got anything you'd like to say on that?
Well, I definitely think he plays well enough for any team to kind of at least think about like having him join their team, but I just don't really see him going like to the practice squad where that is.
Yeah. So I definitely see both of y'all's points and views on it. And I think it's going to be something that is going to be very interesting. Also, something that is going to be really awesome to keep our eye on. Going through the rest of this season. it's going to be really interesting. Whether he hits the practice squad and another team takes him, whether he stays on the 53-man roster or not. I guess preseason will tell us the true answer of that. So guys, with that being
And
said,
I actually want to say I do apologize. I misspoke because we wouldn't be one of the first teams to do it. The Steelers did it for many years with the run and the pass, and they won 6 Super Bowls. So I think that's the recipe, and I think that we could possibly have that if we keep going.
yeah. Well, and it kind of real quick before we move on to our next topic, Titans, every time we try to shift from a run first, or a run heavy offense into more of a pass dominant offense, it's really kind of backfired for us over the years, So we've seen more passing of late once we've gotten Tannehill, but I'd still have to say that we've been heavily run first with Derrick Henry. So that's going to be something interesting to see if that narrative switches, and we'll see more passing, than we do rushing. Definitely last year we were heavily run first, and that was just because of the state that John Robinson put us in, with the roster, and not just him, but the injuries that we were getting hit in the face with. So it's going to be something interesting to keep our eye on this season. But with all that being said, guys, real quick, I want to take the time to let you know that this episode of What's Shakin' Titans is powered by Bailey's Barbecue, Smoking Good Barbecue. Check them out on Facebook at Bailey's Barbecue. All right, guys, so we talked about wide receivers, we talked about quarterback, we talked O-line, we talked running back. Let's talk about Tim Kelly's new offense. We're going to kind of try and speed this up real quick because we're starting to have a lot of lightning out here, so I don't want to lose power in the middle of the podcast. So real quick, let's quickly give our thoughts and our opinions on Tim Kelly's offense. April, we'll start with you.
Short and sweet. It has to be better than Todd Downing. I mean, it can't be any worse. And I'm excited to see what he brings, the dynamic that he brings, and the influence that he brings. I'm excited to see all of those things. And it, obviously, like I said, it can be worse. It can't be worse.
All right, Mason, how about you?
Well, I think with the just having Chig, Traylon Burks, and DeAndre Hopkins, and hopefully a great offensive line, I think it's going to be great. Even a new tight end this year in the draft, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, so guys, for me, I have a audio clip of Jim Wyatt on the RKW. So Jim Wyatt is the official Tennessee Titans reporter. You can go over to our Facebook page and catch this clip where I clipped it out of his full interview and posted it. But so far what we've seen, and of course it's just the smallest of small sample size because we're still in training camp. We won't know what this offense is really going to look like until we're midway through the season. But so far from what has been reported by Jim Wyatt is, it's a faster tempo, more speed involved in the offense, which, Mike Vrabel alluded to at the end of the season last year is that, we got to get faster, So, and that's also a part of, the easier playbook, as far as verbiage goes, so, the play calls are coming in faster now because they're not so long. They're a lot shorter. So, I'm really excited to see, this offense and see what Tim Kelly brings to the table. Like April said, it can't be worse than Todd Downing. So, that's really going to be something to look forward to. So, guys, let's talk about last year, okay? Well, I want you to give a recap of last year and your opinion on, everything that transpired. And we'll start with Mason this time.
Well, first half of the season was looking great. You like you look at that half and you think you're gonna, go make the 1 seed. We were 7-3, I think it was 7-2 maybe. And then just the second half of the season, injuries. Ryan Tannehill got hurt, and ever since that, it just all started to go away. And the Jaguars, which started out really bad, started picking up and ended up taking the division, and that was just we had to play the last game with Joshua Dobbs starting. So just seeing that, how many injuries and what happened with everyone, it's just a rough ending to that season.
Yeah, so the team with no name, or the team that don't actually exist.
Right.
uh, yeah, I agree because, like, last year the Titans was able to start strong. I don't think it was so much strong on the offense. I think it was more so our defense was able to start strong and keep us in, 7 different games that our offense was able to win, but barely. Because I mean, let's face it, if we won a game last year, we barely won it. We won it by a field goal or a touchdown. And, if we lost it, we got our butts handed to us. So, I think, last year, you know, we did, we started 7-3, and then we went on a terrible losing streak. And, you know, a lot of that, was because of injury. It was because of Todd Downing. It was because of play calls. It was because of, you know, the Titans had to hire an offensive line from the high school down the road. You know, uh, I think that last year was just a crap show. You know, and I think we got lucky to finish the season. As high up as we did, with the roster that we were going through the season with. And especially as injuries just kept piling on, it kept getting worse and worse and worse for us. I think what really started the downward spiral for us last season was the trade away of AJ Brown. And I think that just lost a lot of people's, players' mentality. It was just like that was something that none of us expected. Mike Vrabel definitely didn't agree with it. We all seen his reaction. And then you can go back and listen to a recent podcast with Bussin' with the Boys, where he kind of alluded to, his thoughts and feelings on, John Robinson trading away, AJ Brown. But April, what is your thoughts on last year?
I think last year we never actually felt comfortable. I think from first game when we saw that we lost to the Giants, I was like, "Oh, this is not going to be good." Um, and I think we and you had went back and forth on it, and we had talked about it, and we kind of knew that this was something that wasn't going to be in well, um, because they just weren't fixing any of the issues. They just kept putting band-aids on it and band-aids on it and band-aids on it, and those band-aids eventually broke. Um, and I don't think that there was ever a game or a time where when we were like, oh, okay, we could be okay this season, even after our wins. And I think that we were lucky to go 7-3 and not 3-13, 3-14. And I think we had to go back to mentally those times when we were 3-13 or 4, and 4-14, and just think about, okay, it could have been worse, because we've been worse. But I think they fixed the number one problem from last year, which is, I agree, trading away AJ Brown when they brought in DeAndre Hopkins. I feel like that was the plan all along. I feel like they knew what they wanted to do. They just were waiting on him to be at a ticket price that we could afford him. I said it on Bryce's podcast, and I'll say it again. Verbal is very football smart, and he's very football smart for that move. He knew if we tried to get him during draft, we wouldn't get some of the pieces that we actually needed to be able to protect him and make sure that he has the passes that he needs. So he waited it out. DeAndre knew he wanted to come here. We knew that we wanted him to come here, so we waited on Arizona to do what they do. cut him loose, and we were able to pick him up.
Yeah, I definitely, definitely agree with your take on all that. It was definitely like they kept trying to put band-aids on the big holes. John Robinson was just trying to put a band-aid up and lean on that next man up mentality. But the only thing is you can only go next man up for so long. Eventually you run out of people. Who was the next man up? It was nobody. So with that being said, that was our expectation, or that was our that was our recap of last year. We all gave our thoughts and our opinions on last year. Let's give our expectations for the 2023-2024 season. What is y'all's expectations this year? Mason, we'll start out with you.
I would say our record, I think, is either going to be 12-5, I think it would be, or 11-6, winning the division, but not the highest seed. Just seeing that we won't be playing against Alvin Kamara week 1, so that will help our chances in week 1. And I hear a lot of people saying that we might not be playing Joe Burrow in the Bengals week 4. So some of those games make it we have a more higher chance to win those games.
Yeah. Well, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but I was really hoping we'd get to see Joe Burrow. And now, yeah, it makes it a little easier for the Titans. But, I'm a really big competitor. So I want to face a team at their best, because if we can beat them at their best, then if we have to face them, during the playoffs, we already know, hey, we can do this. We beat them at their best already, So I would have liked to go ahead and get that one, out of the way. But regardless, when we played the Bengals, I do believe that Joe Burrow would not be playing for that game. And I'll go ahead and let April give her expectations for this season, and then I'll kind of go over my thoughts, and then I'll give my record prediction at the end of everything. So April, go ahead, fire away.
I kind of agree with Mason, more along the 11-6 line. I said it on Bryce's show. He had an extremely early record prediction show, and even before we knew that we were getting DeAndre, I said we would win between 10 and 11 games. I stand behind that. I stand whether or not we got DeAndre. I stand behind that just because I knew what was coming up in the wide receiver room. I knew Burks was coming up. I knew Kyle Phillips was coming up. We still had NWI and we had Chig, and with all of those weapons together, even without DeAndre, I think that we had a good chance, mix and pass and run, and being able to win at least 10 games with DeAndre. I think that moves to 11, and also the chance of Joe Burrow not being at the Cincinnati game when we play. Not saying that, I'm excited that he's not going to be there. I understand your point. You want to be the best and you want to beat the best in order to be the best. And I understand that. But anything that gives us a win to get us to the next level, to get us where we need to be in postseason, I'm going to take it. So if him not being in the game gives us the best chance to win, hey, I'm for it. So, yeah, I definitely think that with that. And I think also Jalen Ramsey, is out for the year. So when we play Miami, we won't have Jalen Ramsey. They're on defense kind of in, our rookie line space. So that's going to help us out with the Miami game as well. So I think it's moving closer to the 12 game mark that we win. But I definitely say between 11 and 12 games that we win, with the additions and the injuries that I've seen so far.
Yeah, I like both of y'all's record predictions and both of y'all's expectations. Of course, mine's a little bit different. Mine's a little bit more out there, and I'm gonna get into all of that real quick. So for me, I expect the Titans to have a phenomenal season this year. I'm expecting to see a major improvement on offense in the pass game and in the running game. I believe we're going to see our defense take, the next step, from just being a top five or top 10 defense, especially with just the front five. I think as a whole, our defense is going to become a top 2 or 3 defense in the National Football League. And, so I'm expecting to see good defensive play. I'm expecting to see great offensive play. And my expectations for the record. So my record prediction is I believe the Tennessee Titans will be 14-3 at the end of the season. And here's my line of thought behind all that is we got to remember, like we talked about earlier, is at one point throughout the season last year, with all the players that we had hurt, with everything that we were going through, we still were 7-3, through half the season. And, we can only improve from that, and I think that we're going to see a major improvement, both on offense and defense. I think we're going to see the offense put up a lot more points. We're going to see the defense, be able to take the ball out of the air, so we're not going to be in as many close games that we were last year. I expect the Tennessee Titans to win back the AFC South, being the number 1 team. And I also expect, us to at least make it to the AFC Championship game. I see that all in the realm of possibility. And of course, this is just our expectations and our predictions for this season, so what we'll do is we'll clip all of these, and we'll at the end of the season we'll go back and we'll see who came the closest and stuff. So stay tuned throughout the season to see whose record prediction was right, to see whose expectations were met the most, and stuff like that.
And I agree with you, Gary, as far as 7-3 last year. But I think a lot of people forget that the main asset that we have on our team is not even a player; it's our coach. And I think that's why we were 7-3 last year, despite everything that happened, through the first part of the season, is because Mike Vrabel was such a good coach, and he still is a good coach. So I think, with the addition of these good players plus having a great coach, I think that your prediction could actually be pretty accurate, but it will be exciting. And actually next week on the show, what I would like to do is break down each game and find out if we think we'll be winning that, if we think we'll be losing that, and why.
Yeah, so, and to kind of toss this out there, my record prediction wasn't just, compared to last year. I kind of went through the games that we had this year. I went through our roster. I went through my expectation for this roster, but then I also compared it to last year and the year before, and also took in what happened throughout those seasons with injuries. Now, the 2 years ago we set the record for most injuries and most players coming in off the street, playing for us. I think it was a total of 98 people. And we finished that season, 11-5 or 12 and something, and with that being said, that even makes my expectations for this season, when we have a better, group of core players than we did last year, that's why I increased it up to 14 games with 3 losses. I think that the AFC is going to have a rude awakening when the Titans, dominates the AFC South. I meant the AFC South will have a rude awakening, because I believe the Titans will dominate the division this year, and I believe we're going to take back that crown. But yeah, so next week, guys, we'll get on here. We'll break down each game, wins or losses. We'll be doing that. Also, we got a couple of announcements I would like to make real quick. So we have a new segment that we are in the works of starting. My sister April don't know about this yet, but our other two co-hosts, Mason and Noah, they know about it. So we're creating a segment called Debate Table. And on the debate table, what it is we will take a clip from around the NFL about the Titans, whether it's them, talking outlandish or talking down on the Titans. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take that clip and then we're going to debate against that clip. So we'll play that clip for y'all, and then we're going to debate against that clip. We're going to give our thoughts and our opinions on it. And basically, we're going to hold the national media accountable for what they're saying about the Tennessee Titans. Because, a lot of them will sit here and talk outlandish stuff about the Titans, and you could tell that they never watched a single Titans game. So we're going to hold them accountable through this segment called Debate Table. So that's something that is new coming to our podcast. And also, we will have guests come on our podcast more frequently for the What's Shakin' Titans podcast. We also have started a partnership with the Bryce and Haley show. So April or I will be co-hosting on that show, if not both of us at the same time. And vice versa, Bryce will be coming on and co-hosting with us here on What's Shakin' Titans. And then one last little tidbit is we are in the works of starting a new network. If you've seen the thumbnail to this video, you'll see TSN, which stands for Twin Titans Sports Network. And so we're starting a sport network of different types of Titans podcasts with different people. We're going to start a big team, that way we can bring y'all more entertainment, more podcasts, more hot topics, the whole 9 yards. So our goal is just to reach out to the fans and, definitely just grow with our partners and our podcast through the network. And we're just really looking forward to the growth that we're aiming for. But with that being said, guys, I'm gonna give last thoughts to April and Mason real quick. Let them give their last thoughts, and then we'll close this episode out. So, April, what is your last thoughts? Anything you want to say to the fans before we get out of here?
I want to thank them again for coming to season 2. I'm excited about our growth. I'm excited about things that we have coming this season. And I can't wait to see, how much content we get to talk about. I think that I have a really good feeling about this season. I had a gut-wrenching feeling that last season was going to go that way. But I have a really good feeling about this season. I love the addition of Julio Jones. I really hope that it works out for us, and I cannot wait to see it all play out on the field. Thank you guys again for tuning into us. Thank you guys for, your likes, shares, comments, your feedback. Appreciate it, and I can't wait to see you guys next week.
I'm just super excited that I was able to be here today, and super excited for the future of this year, and, the good and bad of the Titans, explain everything what's been going on, and everything, and just making sure you guys don't forget to subscribe.
All right, guys. So there you have it. Like our co-host Mason was saying, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to What's Shakin' Titans to get the latest from What's Shakin' Titans, as well as go and give us a follow on all of our different social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify. Give us a follow, guys. Thank you for tuning in to What's Shakin' Titans. As always, we love you guys. We'll catch you later, and have a blessed day. This episode of What's Shakin' Titans was brought to you by Bailey's Barbecue, Smoking Good Barbecue. Check them out on Facebook at Bailey's Barbecue.
And back, you don't wanna make me mad. I stay strong, you will never see me crack. And if you get in my way, you're gonna feel the wrath. Gotta say it to my face while he's looking back. Mirror breaks after math, when I hate I attack.